In this section, I'm going to talk about two features to replicate my objects. One of them is rectangular feature, a rectangular pattern feature, and the other is circular pattern feature. And you can find them under transformation features, I guess, and that's it. Transformation features toolset. And if you do not see it here, of course, I do not see it here. I can go to insert and select the transformation feature, and you can see that rectangular pattern and circular pattern are here. I'm going to show you how you can use rectangular pattern first. So I click on this, you can see a dialog box, and now the first thing that I want to select is the object that is going to be replicated. Here I want to replicate the whole, so I go and highlight the object here and go select the whole. If it is hard to select this, I can go to specification tree and select the whole from here. Now I have selected this. The second thing that I need to select is the reference element. So I want to tell Catia to which direction it should replicate my object. If I want to have a specific direction, I can right click here and I can see that some directions are available. If I want to select an edge or some other reference element, I can go and select it. For example, this edge is the edge that I want to use as my direction. So you can see a preview of what is it going to look like. So the other parameters are here. I can select what type of copying I want to use. If I select the instance and length, I can tell Catia that in a length of about, for example, 100 millimeter, please create 5 instances of this whole. This is what this means. If I want to have instances and spacing, I can tell Catia, for example, in 100 millimeters, create 5 instances, and the space between each instance is going to be about, for example, 20 millimeters. If I want to have spacing and length, I can tell Catia to create as much, copies as you can, and create, the space between each instance is going to be, for example, 20 millimeter, and the whole length is going to be 100 millimeters. So Catia is going to calculate the number of instances, and for example, it can tell that 4 instances are possible to create. And the other one is using unequal spacing. I'm not going to talk about this right now. Let's go with instance and spacing. I'm going to tell Catia to create 6 instances, for example, and 20 millimeters of spacing is okay. So I click preview and see the result. That's okay. I hit okay, and now I have created the rectangular pattern like this. So let's zoom in a little bit and see what this is looking like. So if I want to change this, I can double click on rectangular pattern here, that is the rect pattern 1, and I can increase the instances or change the parameters as I wish. So I want to have 7 instances in 20 millimeters, and now you can see that another instance is added here. So I can do this like this. If I want to use the second direction, I can create rows of my, holes here, or the object that I'm going to replicate. So I go and select the second direction. You can see that I only have 1 row. So I want to have about, for example, 10 rows of what is being, replicated. So you can see that the spacing is 20 millimeters. So I am going to select the reference element here. I highlight this and go and select this edge. Now you can see that the direction is not correct. So I go and click on reverse direction. Now the direction is, getting corrected. Now I see that 10 instances is too much. I am going to decrease it to 9 and hit OK. And you can see that I have created this. The holes are replicated in 2 different directions, and now I can use it as I wish. Okay. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is a circular pattern, and I'm going to show you how you can create this. And this is going to use, for example, a cylinder like this for that. Let's create a hole first, and for this I'm going to select this face, go and select the hole tool, and create a hole like this. And I'm going to, of course, move it a little to the right, for example, like this. and I click OK. This is the hole that I'm going to replicate using the circular pattern. So I have this selected and I go to insert and transformation features and select circular pattern like this. Now I can again select the parameters, and these are a little different from what you see in rectangular pattern. For example, you see instances and angular spacing. So there is an instance here, and you can select the angles between this and the other one. So let's see this right now. I'm going to create two instances and I'm going to have 45 degrees between them. So you can select a reference element, and I'm selecting the reference element like this. Because I cannot select an axis for this, I can go and select the face that is round and 360 degrees. So I select this, and you can see that this is like this. Let's create preview or hit OK. You can see that two instances are created, and the first instance is the instance that is on the actual hole. So I go and double click circ pattern, and now I'm going to change this to another type. You can see that I have instances and total angle. I can tell that create as much instances as you can in as many instances as you can in, for example, 360 degrees or any number of degrees that I want to. I can say to create angular spacing and total angle. For example, I can tell that create an instance in every 45 degrees, and the whole angle is gonna be, for example, 360 degrees. I can create a complete crown, that means use a 360 degrees, and of course I can have unequal angular spacing. Instances angular spacing is okay. I'm going to create, for example, 6 instance, and I'm going to use 60 degrees between each, and now you can see that it has calculated and tells me that the last one is gonna be in 300 degrees. So I have selected every reference element, object, and every other parameter that I need, and now I can click OK, and now you can see that it is replicated like this. So of course I can have different circles of this. That means I can have different crowns. That means like different rows in a rectangular pattern. I go and double click circular pattern here, and now I go to crown definition. I have one row. I'm going to have about 5, and the spacing is going to be 20 millimeter. You can see that 5 is too much here for me because it is exceeding the boundaries, so I make it 4. So you can see that I have created 4 circles of this hole, and I can click OK. You can see that the circular pattern is used to create such patterns like this.